we're going to have to think about issues of migration. And we've got all these borders, which were mostly put in for post-colonial reasons. If they made any sense before, they don't make any sense now in the climatic conditions. So you have migrations of people coming to a border, and the new guy says, no, you can't cross here because I got to protect my people on this side.
Our water resources have come to us over many, many years, and the climate that's been in this area at that time, and that climate's changing. So we don't know that our rainfall or our precipitation inputs are going to be the same. So all those bottles of water we're exporting out of here, we can't assume that equivalent amount of rainfall or precipitation is going to come back in to replenish that. So that's why I always try and keep the cycle in one place. Should we be exporting water from the Great Lakes to some of the drier states in the US, you're taking it out of that catchment that was constantly supplying and cycling water through itself. So I think the other thing we need to think about is, let's start to adapt to what we're seeing now and what we think might happen.
We're already working towards the Millennium Development Goals with limited, in some cases, great success. And climate change is yet another challenge that's woven within poverty, within these systems. And we really look at adaptation in context of all these other stresses.
I really do think it's the major issue on the planet. We hear about terrorism and the economy. Well, let's not pretend that climate change is not going to affect the economy. It's going to be the biggest factor on the economy. Let's just make the list. It affects, agriculture. It affects forestry. It affects fisheries. It affects natural resources. It affects tourism. It affects health. The list goes on and on. It has very strong economic consequences, but those economic consequences has not been factored in yet. It's seen as some sort of cost to mitigate climate change. What's the cost of not mitigating climate change? That's what we should be asking the question. There is some denial that it's happening, but we have lots of time, and we have a much more important problem that we have to deal with, or the public doesn't see it as an imminent problem. Everyone has an excuse. Like, if we do it and the province next to us doesn't do it, then, well, we've given them an economic advantage, and it all comes down to this. Well, at some point we have to start showing leadership, but people are very reluctant, it seems, to show leadership in this type of thing, and partly because they don't see immediate returns. If you feel very justified in a war, you'll have some immediate returns if you win. If you feel very justified that something requires immediate economic action, they'll see relatively recent returns. What you're doing here, you're going to see your returns maybe in decades, centuries, or maybe even a long period of time. And we have a real problem doing a lot of action if we're not going to get credit for it.